enough of that fat bastard. That piece of shit. I want you to remember, I never talk about my colleagues. This is a first. It's time for me to address this. I'm only going to do it once because this bastard is worth less than a damn cockroach. I'm supposed to be covering sports, but I make a career out of talking about my colleagues. That ain't work. That's you finding some slick way to get a check because you can't get a job. That's Jason Whitlock. That's who the hell he is. But he will tell you, I didn't write it. He's seen my writing. Really? How Jason Whitlock is poisoning ESPN's Black Grant land while you are on Blaze TV, spewing that bullshit to people. Did you tell him that? Them how you stood outside of First Take begging me to talk to you? That you betrayed me? Did you tell the folks that? You bitch. Did you tell them? You fat piece of shit. Did you tell them that? You want me to bring up the other writers that wouldn't work for you? What a disgrace you were to John Skipper, the former boss of ESPN. Because once upon a time, I actually tried to speak up for this damn cretin. I knew he was a piece of shit. Remember when I got suspended years ago? You know, was out there writing stuff, smiling in my face 1 minute, talking smack about me behind my back, and then ultimately writing it. It was him. Jason Whitlock pounced on it because that's what he does. He's the one that puts himself in front of white folks. Not all white folks. Not most white folks. But the white folks that dare we say may have a problem with black folks. He says, I'm your man. I cannot imagine, as a black man, anything worse than a white supremacist. That is, until Jason Whitlock came along. He's worse than them. He is the worst, most despicable, lying, no good, fat ass human being I have ever known in my life. He's irrelevant. He's not important. He's insignificant, and he knows it. And he did all of this to try and bait me into all of this stuff. I know that's how people are looking at it. My point is I don't care. And the reason I don't care is because I've been holding it in for nearly 10 years. But if you're more comfortable working for a white person, I will find a white person for you to work for. We have a higher standard here. Everybody has to get on board with that, or I'm going to find a way to move them someplace else. That was Jason Whitlock. And then he went out and hired a senior writer and editor, Mike Wise, who's white. This is the man that's in charge of black culture. He's a credible journalist. I have nothing negative to say about him. I'm just saying, black website, but you bring in your white friend. In part, because black folks didn't want to work for you. I don't know of anyone who has this in their contract, where it specifically stipulates that I never work with Jason Whitlock. No wonder you didn't see him on First Take. You didn't see him on Undisputed with Skip Bayless either. Skip Bayless wouldn't allow him on there. You didn't see him on Numbers Never Lie either. Jamel Hill and Michael Smith wouldn't allow him on there. Christopher Broussard for Fox Sports and Fox Sports Radio. It doesn't get any better than Christopher Broussard. He can't stand Jason Whitlock. Don't y'all notice why black people scurry away whenever this roach of an individual is around named Whitlock? He is the worst. He's not ethical. He's not moral. Clearly, based over what I've told you about me, he's also not factual most of the time. He will lie, he will denigrate, and he will turn against anyone to serve his own good. The real reason he's there is because he can't get a job anywhere else. He hasn't burnt bridges, he's napalmed them. Call Eric Shanks and Charlie Dixon at Fox. Call Jimmy Pitaro, Burke Magnus, Dave Roberts, Norby Williamson at ESPN. Call them. Call them. Call John Skipper at Meadowlark Media. I'm giving you names. I'm giving you names. I gave you reporters and on-air talent. It's the same Jason Whitlock that stood outside doors trying to get me and coax me into even having a conversation with them because they knew I was so disgusted with him, presumably after he hit a strip club, because we all know ain't nobody trying to go out with him, is the same guy that sent both Dan Lebertard and Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, the two-time champion, the Hall of Famer. My words and my promise to them was that I want nothing to do with him. I was wrong to call him a fat bastard or a roach and all of this other stuff, because that's not my name for him. My name for Jason Whitlock is religiously Cain. A lot of black folks, we talk about how we're the original man on the face of this earth. Well, that means Cain was the original murderer. That's Jason Whitlock. There is nothing good about him. Absolutely nothing. And I challenge anybody that knows anything about him to refute what I'm saying. It's not just because he thinks he's smarter. It's not just because he's fearful of anybody smarter than him in the same room. It's because he truly despises us all. It's who he is. I'm not going to waste my time with that silliness. I have a bestseller. Where's his? He wants to talk about me. That's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, he'd give anything to have my job. He'd give anything to have my resume. You ever see this despicable dude on television? I'm not even getting into how difficult he is to look at. I'm saying, have you ever listened to him? Who wants him? It ain't bragging. I work for it. Everybody else works for it. The only people out here trying to hurt people is you. But we know that's not where you want it to be. You want it to be at ESPN. You want to be running a black website. You want to go to Fox. You want to be on television. Are you watching the show? I mean, it ain't Club Shay Shay where you break the internet with the Cat Williams interview, but I do pick up at least 1,500 subscribers per day. You are a great writer. Your mistake was you started talking, and worse, wanting to be seen while you were talking, which is why your quality and your value plummeted. Because when we see you and we listen to you, we know how worthless you are. And they don't want to deal with the fallout of him constantly coming at them. I don't give a shit. He came to the one. I once tried to befriend this dude. I don't talk to him because he betrayed me. Ask Jamel Hill about him. Ask Dan Le Batard. Ask Chris Broussard. Let me stop naming names. Ask anybody in the industry. I can give you the names of the executives if you want. All of them. He is despised. He doesn't report anymore, y'all. All he does is make noise by coming after the very people who did and still does what he once did, what he aspires to do, but no longer has the outlet to do because he is considered a vile, despicable human being that no one wants anything to deal with. He's a liar. He's a piece of shit. But I mean it from my soul when I say this is the worst human being I've ever known. I don't know of another human being worse than Jason Whitlock. He is a piece of shit. He had a television show. He failed. He's had opportunities one time after another. He doesn't measure up. And now he's coming at the big dog. And let me tell you something right now. I am the big dog. I ain't the only one. It was necessary. He's a sorry, fat piece of shit. I'm a very forgiving person. Not with him. I don't care what beef I had. I don't care how many of you out there that hate me, whatever former athletes, all this stuff. Man, please, I'm sorry. Because I certainly don't hate y'all. We might have our differences from time to time, but ain't never that. This is the exception. I hate this bastard. He is the worst human being any of you will ever meet. You get within a mile of his presence. Wrap your arms around yourself to protect your soul. He is Cain.